All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to say, Call Halal Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Raka HaKodash, and double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, who taught us this truth in Ruwan, and Shalom to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Raka HaKodash, Barakatham. It's the brother Kazak coming back at it again with another lesson. All right, and the title of this lesson is going to be, It's All Falling, all right, or something along the lines of that. Okay, and it's going to be based on, recent news that's been coming out, dealing with the economic state of Babylon, aka the U.S., the United States. All right, now we know that, Russia and their counterparts, by way of BRICS, the BRIC nations are making efforts to collapse and do away with the U.S. dollar. It's known as economical warfare. And that's something that this wicked ass kingdom, all right, the Babylon, this wicked ass kingdom has done to many other countries. Many countries such as Venezuela. A lot of countries. In the Middle East, I believe Libya, destabilization, just messing up, the infrastructure of countries and ultimately turning them into a war zone, because as the scripture says, this devil, he keeps not at home, man. He wants a global preeminence, So now the tables are turning on Babylon. Now it's Babylon that's, at the end of these, strategies, man. All right. And that's Yahweh Shemi Hawashai saving the best for last, because what happened in Venezuela, for example, was due to sanctions and a lot of, what they call economic hitmen, going in there and messing up that country. And that's the tribe of Asher right there, man. That's a big reason why you got thousands upon thousands of Asherites, all along the U.S. border trying to get in. It's a big reason why it was a lot of death, a lot of, criminality, not to sway off topic, but all that's coming to America, man. All that is going to come to Babylon. All right, so let's get this. It's time to worry about the U.S., about a U.S. default for real this time, right? What does it say? Two converging crises are testing American confidence in their financial well-being. There's a banking crisis, which regulatory officials and big American banks very much want you to believe is ending after a decision over the weekend to take over and swallow up another failing bank. Now, this is the spirit, because I didn't really, read this article like that, but it's the spirit because, some news just came out about 17 hours ago. If you see on the right, beneath the views, that what happened is 722 banks are reporting unrealized losses over 50% of capital as concerns over U.S. banking crisis growth. So we have 722 banks, that are crashing down. So this place is on its way out, man. It's been circling the drain, and now it's getting ready to fall. All right, what does it say? And there's a debt crisis. All right, so going back to the other article, and there's a debt crisis, which is becoming more urgent as the U.S. approaches the X date when it would default, on which opposing lawmakers aren't currently talking to each other. Okay, so, that's going into that. But, that's going into ultimately the economic collapse. All right, now, hold on. Let me exit out of this. I don't know why. Let me restart this thing, man. It messed it up. There we go. So what does it say? Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said Monday the X date could arrive as soon as June 1st, right? But it has been a moving target, okay? So, that's these, these people in the higher ups trying to, keep the order, so to speak. Trying to make it, keep it optimistic, but it's not optimistic, man. The future of Babylon isn't looking very bright. And then it's all coming crashing down. All right. So President Joe Biden on Monday called the top four congressional leaders, including House Speakers Kevin McCarthy, to discuss raising the debt ceiling, according to two sources familiar with the matter. All right, so they trying to do what they can, which already the U.S. is drowning in debt, and here it is, Joe Biden wants to go and raise the debt ceiling, which goes to show he is incapable of running Babylon, man. And that's really, all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Al Shai, because ultimately he's putting the spirit on these elites to move on with their NWO. All right, because all this is purpose. All right, my bad. All this is being done on purpose. Okay, it's not a phenomenon, or should I say an anomaly, that this is happening out of the blue. And no, man. All right, this is being done so that these elites could implement their NWO. All right, their new world order, where they're going to implement, the CHIP. All right, that device. They're going to implement, a central bank digital currency. That's what they're going to do. All right, but in order for that to be implemented, this has to go away. All right, the dollar has to collapse. Okay, and then they have to transition to a cashless society. All right, where they're going to implement the CHIP. All right, and that is, what's written of in Revelations chapter 13 and 16. All right, that is the mark. Okay, you can't say it, completely, because the algorithm is going to, take the video down. All right, because that's how, defensive they are when it comes to this topic. Okay, but that's what it is. Okay, that's their game plan ultimately. All right, to create a society of fully monitored slaves, where they have full control over the people. Okay, that's why all this stuff is happening. Okay, but guess what? It's gonna be a lot of chaos. All right, it's gonna be a lot of pandemonium, a lot of murders. It's gonna be a purge-like society. All right, it's gonna be much worse than what happened in Venezuela, because of the big population in the States, and overall the satanic spirits that are out here, man. So let's get into the other article. All right, and we're going to go through, and then we're going to get into the scriptures. All right, so this other article is titled Fed Reveals 722 Banks Reportedly Unrealized Losses Over 50% of Capital. All right, so that means over 50% of their money is lost. All right, that means that when people panic and want to get their money out the bank, they're not going to be able to do that. All right, so it's all crashing down. Okay, what happened to that bank in Silicon Valley, and I think another one too. I forgot the name of the other one. It's gonna be it's gonna be for all the banks, man. All right, that was just the beginning of the domino effect, so to speak. All these banks are gonna collapse. All these banks are going to be what's the word, obsolete, until these devils implement their new currency. All right, so what does it say? The U.S. Federal Reserve has revealed that 722 banks reported unrealized losses exceeding 50% of their capital at the end of the third quarter of 2022, right? So it's been happening. you know. So this is just, this has been, this basically just came out, you know. They held this information back. This just came out, and it's all spiritual, because it falls in line with what was written, right here, which I gotta refresh it just to get the point right there. But what does it say? Secretary Janet Yellen said Monday the X date, basically talking about, the collapse could arrive as soon as June 1st, but it has been a moving target. So it could come in sooner or later, you know. That's how short of a time span this place has left, man. All right. So continuing on in the reads. All right. Let me see. So this, being realized, hey, don't be astonished, don't be surprised if you start seeing more and more banks, shutting down, going out of business, so to speak, or collapsing, whatever the proper terminology is, to describe what is going on here, man. Don't be surprised if it's your bank that starts closing down. you know. Continuing on, and it reads, rising interest rates are creating significant unrealized losses in investment securities, and in some cases depressing tangible equity. All right, so I'm gonna read this again. All right, it says rising interest rates. So yeah, interest rates are rising. Inflation are creating significant unrealized losses in investment securities, and in some cases depressing tangible equity. So ultimately, these things are controlled by the higher ups, man. Interest rates, the rising interest rates is what's causing this. All right, that's basically what it said. Okay, and who controls the interest rates? The higher ups, man. And who do the higher ups answer to? The different banking families, the Rothschilds, the elites. All right, they're perpetuating this because they want their their system. All right, they want that image, which is, written of in Revelations chapter 13. All right, they want that to come into fruition. Okay, because the image of the beast, all right, is basically the new system that they want to come in with. All right, so continue on, and it reads, according to the Fed's Division of Supervision and Regulation. All right, 722 banks. Okay, so that's what was stated up there. All right, so U.S. Federal Reserve has revealed in a board of presentation by the Division of Supervision and Regulation that 722 banks reported unrealized losses exceeding 50% of their capital at the end of the third quarter of 2022. All right, the presentation released to the public in April is dated February 14th. It highlights the impact of raising interest rates on certain banks and the Fed's supervisory approach to address issues at these banks. All right. All right, let me just skim down, to see if there's anything else. All right, because right now Babylon is going through a banking crisis. Okay, and it's all right on time with what the news all around is saying. It's all in synchronicity. So let's get into this paragraph right here. It says many people took social media Saturday to voice concerns with U.S. banking crisis. All right, some stress that this is a clear indication that the banking crisis is far from being resolved, while others warned that the banking crisis in the U.S. is just getting started, and they are correct. Okay, this place is going down. All right. So let's see what this person had to say. All right, so this is Gabor Gurbax. I don't know what type of name that is. All right, but he said director of a digital assets strategy. So that's who he is at investment management firm Vanik. So this is somebody that's higher up, man. This would be considered a keeper of the house, somebody that's, analyzing everything and giving out the statistics. All right. What does it say? The Fed had the data, knew what could be coming after their reckless interest rate policies, yet they didn't meaningfully warn either the government or the public. Exactly. See that? And that's the spirit. All right. Because who does the Fed answer to? The Fed is an independent entity from the government. Okay. That's why, they are referred to as a separate thing. Even in this statement, they don't work for the government. They don't answer to the government. Therefore, they don't have to warn the government. All right. And the people much less. Okay. Because they're ran by the different banking families. They're the ones who ultimately rule the world, man. All right. And we can start bringing out some scriptures, man. All right. Let's go Job chapter 9 and 24. All right. What does it say? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. All right. And who's the wicked? Esau, Edom, according to Malachi chapter 1 and 4. All right. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Exactly, man. All right. Because in his wickedness, in his rule and his power, he promotes and perpetuates wickedness, man. He has polluted the whole world in wickedness and gross darkness. All right. And it's fine time that he gets taken out the way, man. As it is written in the Thessalonians, it's fine time that he gets taken out the way. All right. But let's continue on. All right. I'm going to read this quote again. All right. The Fed had the data, knew what could be coming after the reckless interest rate, right? Because it is the higher ups. All right. It's the elites that are controlling this. They're making this happen. All right. Policies, yet they didn't meaningfully warn either the government or the public. Despite multiple bank failures, Fed Chair Jerome Powell has insisted that the U.S. banking system is sound and resilient. Lies, man. All right. They are born speaking lies, as the scriptures say, man. Okay. The banking system is not sound and resilient, man. All right. The Babylonian banking system, the U.S. banking system is not sound and resilient, man. They are killing it. Okay. Literally. Regarding of the collapses of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, First Republic Bank. All right. So that's 3 banks. Here it is. I was thinking it was only 2. Those have all been, the Fed claimed, those have all been resolved and all depositors have been protected, right? But that's far from the truth, man. All right, multiple people have cautioned that the U.S. banking crisis is not over, including J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Demon. Hey, that's a spirit. You got to be a demon to be a CEO of a fucking bank, man. Pardon my French. All right, but continue on, and it reads, who said last month that there will be repercussions for years to come, right? And really, it's not even, it's going to be, this place is going to be destroyed within an hour, man. All right, everything is coming into, the climax, everything is coming together. All things work together for good. All right, let's get that scripture, man. All right. All things all right, right there, the book of Romans, chapter 8 and 28. What does it say? And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. It is a good thing that these things are happening. All right, because this only means that we're only closer to our deliverance. We're only closer to getting up out of here, man. For us, the so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans, the real true Hebrew Israelites, according to the Bible, to be set back in our own land. Okay? So that's why it is written in Matthew 24, fear not, be ye not troubled. Okay? To them who are called according to his purpose, right? Salakia, continuing on with Romans 8 and 28, to them that are who are the called according to his purpose, the elect, man. All right, Lord willing, we're of that number. Okay. Continuing on, and it reads on the article. All right, multiple people. Well, so like, hold on. This is basically it on the whole article, man. All right, what does it say? Economist Peter Schiff also recently warned that the banking crisis is not over and a much worse financial crisis is coming. Yeah, and that's what's coming. That's the spirit, because it leaves off toward the sentiment, or not the sentiment, but the main, topic of the lesson. The collapse of Babylon. All right, Isaiah 24:1. Behold, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. Right. Now just picture that. Maketh the earth empty, maketh it waste, turneth it upside down, and scattereth abroad the inhabitants thereof. In an economic collapse, people will be scattered. Okay, because what's going to happen? The infrastructure, society is going to shut down. And the cities, all right, are going to go into pandemonium. Okay, you can't grow crops in the cities. People are going to scatter. A lot of people are going to go crazy, man. A lot of killings, a lot of lootings, and that's what's prophesied here in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. All right. 2nd Ezra 15 and 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, so that's the prophecy right there, man. All right, prophesying against this place. In the economic collapse, that's what's going to happen. All right, cities are going to be troubled. People are going to be going into their neighbors and trying to loot up, and and only the elect are gonna be saved from this, man. The elect, the 1/3 remnant. They're going to be the ones that's going to be saved. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is going to save them, man. Lord willing, we're of that number. He's going to save us, man. He's going to keep us from harm. As it is written in Job chapter 5, if I'm not mistaken. All right, let me just make sure on that. Yeah, chapter 5 and 19. He shall deliver thee in 6 troubles, yea, in 7 there shall no evil touch thee. Because as we get closer, to that hour, them demons, want to hop on you, and they want to, get you to lose faith in the Heavenly Father, get you to lose trust, But the Heavenly Father, man, he has his hand in everything. He is the Father of spirits. He controls everything around us, from the, from the, the greater things to the least things, man. All right. As it is written, a sparrow does not fall without him sanctioning it. Okay, so let's continue on. Verse 2. And it shall be as with the people, so with the priest. Now here's the key point, because this is what, further describes a economic collapse. All right. The first, verse kind of, introduces it, gives the imagery, so to speak, because as we read in 2nd Ezra 15, all right, these are things that are going to cause people to scatter. Imagine that you're people are in a certain city, and this, riots, is shootings, lootings. People are going to flee that city, man. Until martial law gets put in place, and these devils really start, speaking like dragons, going into the draconian laws that they're getting ready to pass, as it is written in the book of Revelations. So continuing on, and it reads, verse 2, and it shall be as with the people, so with the priest. All right, why? Because the people pay tithes to the priest. Okay. As with the servant, so with his master, right? Because the servant works for his master for a wage. Okay. As with the maid, so with her mistress, right? The female equivalent. As with the buyer, so with the seller, right? These businesses, all right? As with the lender, so with the borrower, right? You know, people who do loans, right? And mind you, this is just climbing up, the financial ladder, so to speak. Because here's the last one. As with the taker of usury, so with the giver of usury to him. Okay, because this describes the banks. Because with a bank, you do what, man? You take a loan and you pay it back with interest. That's what usury means. All right. Verse 3. The land shall be utterly emptied and utterly spoiled, for Yahweh Shemel Shai had spoken this word. All right. But now primarily focusing on verse 2, how it describes, these people in the different positions of transactions. All right. Is basically saying that the poor and the rich are going to be in the same boat, man. All right. Unless you're in that very top echelon, you're directly working for the Rothschilds. All right. You're going to be in the same boat as the guy, working at McDonald's, man. The dude who is an entrepreneur, who has all these houses and you know what I'm saying, all these businesses, who likes to, gloat around in social media, so on and so forth. He's going to be in the same position as the guy that works at McDonald's. Okay, because that dollar is going to be worth nothing. They're all going to be in the same predicament. All right. And this is going to happen until basically these devils usher in their new currency. All right, which is going to be the central bank digital currency. All right. And what's going to come with that? All right, Revelations 13 and 16. All right, because the position, so to speak, the situation has to be set in place first. Okay. Because if these devils just out of nowhere, out the blue, roll out with the device, the CHIP, all right. Let's just, type it in just to, give, a better imagery. Of what's being spoken about. If these devils, just usher in the CHIP out of nowhere, there's no economic collapse. Just on a Tuesday, man. People are going to be opposed to it, man. You're going to have, those that are going to be opposed to it. They're going to be like, nah, man, I'm not going to take that. All the Bible Belt Christians, at least they got that part right. The ones that teach about, this being the what's written of in Revelations 13 and 16, at least they got that right. They're not going to take it, But guess what? They're not founded upon faith. They don't really got that type of faith, man. That's why, the Lord is having it to where it plays out like this, because only the elect who have that faith are going to resist this charagma, all right, which is what it is, described in the Greek. They're going to resist this device. Okay. When the going gets tough, a lot of these people, shit, even dudes in the truth, man, they're going to get weak. They're going to bend. But it's only going to be the elect that's going to, resist, man. Even people who call themselves Israelites, man. That's what I meant to say. Even people who call themselves Israelites, that are in these other camps, they're not teaching that this is the mark, man. They're not teaching it, man. They're going to lead their congregations to destruction. All right. But let's get into it. All right. Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in their foreheads. All right. Now you have, this is the one that's going to be received in the out of there. This is the one that's going to be received in the hand. All right. And they have in development the ones that's going to be received in the forehead, man. All right. This stuff is for real. Okay. And you might have family members that are going to take it. You know, people close to you that are going to take it. It is what it is, man. As long as you resist, you know, because you believe, you know, the Heavenly Father is going to deliver you. All right. So let's get it. Revelations 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor. All right. So because they're going to be in the same predicament, man. All right. As we read in Isaiah 24. All right. Free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. All right. And that no man, and here's where it gets, you know, more specific as to what type of, you know, thing this mark is, right? And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. All right. So that's what it is, man. No man might buy or sell unless he has that device. Okay, because if you go into the Hebrew, I mean, not the Hebrew, so like the Greek, you know, go into the word mark. All right, what is it? Charagma or charagma. All right. That's the Greek, you know, word for mark here. And what is it? A stamped and imprinted mark, right? The mark branded upon horses, right? And ultimately, you know, that's what that thing symbolizes at the end of the day, you know, because when you take that device, when you take that CHIP, it basically symbolizes that this devil, all right, the so-called white man, Esau, Edom, has ownership over you, man. That's what it means. Okay. Starting with the elites of the different banking families, that they have ownership over you. All right. Because after that, you know, they're going to know every single little thing about you. All right. They're going to know where you work. They're going to know how much money you have. Okay, which, you know, they could do that, you know, already with the banks to a certain extent. You know, they're going to know your location, your health records, you know. And if you buck up against the status quo, they're simply just going to turn off your device. And you're going to, you know, be left out there to fend for yourself, you know, and not partake in their system. All right. So going into the root word of charagma is the word charax. All right. And this is a more indicative, you know, characteristic of this device. What does it say? A pale, a stake, a palisade. Right. What does the definition say? Carasso, to sharpen to a point. Right. To sharpen to a point. And what does that describe, man? These implants, man. All right. These are, you know, these Salakia, these, you know, injections, so to speak. All right. Getting this inserted into you. That's what that, you know, describes. That's what that gives the characteristics of, man. Okay. It's not no, you know, non-tangible thing, so to speak. All right, it's not Christianity. All right, it's not an embargo. Okay, it's none of those things that these other camps teach, man. All right, because otherwise the root words would be different. You know, it would be theowagma or something like that. You know, it'd be some other thing, man. Not charagma. All right. Now let's get to the judgment. the book of Revelation, chapter 14 and 9. And it reads, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So that's what's going to happen. All right. This is ultimately going into how those that take the device, the CHIP, all right, they are going to be caught out there in the nuclear holocaust. All right. When Yahweh Hashem Yahushai puts a spirit on Russia, their counterparts who have that nuclear ability, all right, and ultimately, you know, the NATO and the EU, when they eventually, you know, turn on Babylon, all right, that goes into how they're gonna shoot the missiles over here, and the people that take this device are gonna be caught out there to be, you know, destroyed by the missiles, man. Verse 11, and the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth a mark of his name. So you see, you know, that's what is, you know, getting ready to come to pass. All right, well, that's the judgment that's, you know, reserved, you know, for the 2/3, which are going to take that device. All right, and these other nations. Okay, but the elect are going to get delivered, man. All right. The elect are going to get delivered. Matter of fact, let's get into that. You know, the book of Revelations, chapter 11 and 11. You know, we're going to start there. All right, now I know this is, you know, kind of dragging on. We're going to, you know, get a couple more scriptures and we're going to close out. All right, but what does it say? And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai entered into them. All right, so this is going into the two witnesses. All right, each witness representing the northern kingdom of Israel. All right, and the other one representing the southern kingdom of Israel. All right, which they all make up the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, what does it say? After 3 days and a half represents 350 years. All right, starting when, you know, Judah was brought here on slave ships. You know, so from that point on to now. All right, what does it say? The spirit of life from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai entered into them. So that's going into this truth, this knowledge. All right, which is inspired by what? The Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh. All right, and they stood upon their feet. All right, meaning, you know, stood up for this truth. You know, prophesy. You know, do the lessons. You know, that the elect may be sealed. Right, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. All right, that's going into our enemies. You know, which they rightfully should be scared, man, because, hey, them secret societies, they know who we are. Okay, they know that we're the children of Israel, and that when we repent, the Heavenly Father delivers us. All right, verse 12, and they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Salakia, come up hither. All right, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. All right, so it's going into the elect. Okay, and that's something that I should have clarified as well. When it goes into the two witnesses, because the two witnesses doesn't just, you know, mean the whole nation of Israel. The two witnesses is mainly speaking about the elect. All right, so Salakia, but, you know, this is the, you know, ultimately what's going to happen. All right, verse 12. I'm going to read it again. They heard a great voice from heaven saying, come up hither, and they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. All right, that meaning a so-called UFO. Okay, and their enemies beheld them. All right, so that's what's going to happen, you know, when the missiles are about to come. All right, as it's going to say right here, 13. All right. In the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, which 7 represents completion. It's going to be much more than the 7,000. All right. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah of heaven. Okay. So it says in the same hour, all right, meaning when the elect are getting, brought up into the chariots. All right. In that same moment, there's going to be a great earthquake, which is going to be caused by what? The missiles hitting this place, man. Because you best believe they're going to cause an earthquake, and the proof of that is in them nuclear testings that were being done by, between the U.S. and Russia. Where Russia dropped a nuke so big, somewhere near the North Pole that, the seismic, wave of that of that bomb, went around Earth 3 times. So that means that people from the other side of the earth felt it, man. All right. So that's, going into what that earthquake is talking about. As the 2/3, as the, these other nations, these heathens. All right. That portion of Israel, much more specifically, going into the 2/3, that wicked portion of Israel that are, going to take that device. And even if they don't take it, man, they don't have the fear of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, hey, they still gonna be left out there, man. It is what it is. Okay, but what does it say? They're gonna be destroyed. As they be destroyed, Israel, the elect is gonna be delivered, and that's the balance. All right, so let's go into another one. All right, matter of fact, it's in Revelations chapter 6. All right, because now we're going to touch upon what these the elites are going to do. All right, and what does it say? Revelations chapter 6 and 15. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman and every free man, hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains. All right, so it's going into the bunkers, man. All right, how these elites, and their, underlings, all right, have carved into the mountains, dug into the mountains and set up, basically bunkers, man. Sanctuaries. I wouldn't say sanctuaries, but, refugees, so to speak, a safe place in their own eyes to keep them away from, the destruction, man, to keep them away from the chaos, And ultimately, by that time, they're going to see the chariots, man. Ultimately, they're going to do that. The main point is they're going to do that to hide from the Son of Man, from Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. He's coming back with the thousands of heavens, and the elect getting beamed up and put into the new bodies, which that's written of in the scriptures, the elect being transformed, and basically being as the angels, they're going to be hiding from that. All right. Verse 16, and said to the mountains and the rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? Right. And that's them in their prides, thinking that them mountains and them bunkers, them underground bunkers is going to save them, man. Because Yahweh Shai, he sees through all that, man. All right. So this was going to happen with the heathens. Okay, Jeremiah 16 and 16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, and they shall fish them. Right. This represents, the prophets, the brothers in this truth, doing the lessons, going out to the highways and hedges, prophesying. Right. And what does it say? And after will I send for many hunters? And that means, Lord willing, we're of that number. Speaking of the prophets, when we get changed, as I've spoken before, we know we get transformed, into the new bodies, all right, and into the angelic bodies. That's when we're going to become hunters, man. Lord willing, we're of that number. That's when we're going to become hunters. And what are we going to do? All right, what does it say? And they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. All right, so you just saw how in Revelations chapter 6, it described, the kings of the earth, who are the wicked, who the earth was given into their hands. They're going to be hiding in the rocks and the mountains, right? That's basically going into the bunkers, the underground bunkers, man. All right. And now it's telling you in Jeremiah 16:16 that the Lord is going to raise up hunters and hunt them out from the mountains and the rocks. Basically those bunkers, man. All right. So they're not going to escape, man. These elites are not going to hide away in some underground facility, that they done dug into like a mountainside or something, and just, start and have their little civilization there while the kingdom is being established on the surface, man. It's not going to play out that way. All right. They're going to be hunted out. They're going to be put into slavery. Okay. What does it say? For mine eyes are upon all their ways, and they shall not be hid from my face. Neither is their iniquity hid from mine eyes. And first I will recompense their iniquity and their sin double, because they have defiled my land, and they have filled mine inheritance with the carcasses of their detestable and abominable things. Right. So the Lord's going to recompense their iniquity double. All right. Meaning that the 400 going on 500 years of captivity we had here in Babylon, they're going to get 1,000 years. All right. These elites, all right, these Rothschilds, all right, and really the whole nation of Edom, so-called white people, and not just them, the other nations as well, all right, that are not of the 12 tribes of Israel, because they're all joined together. Okay, they're going to get 1,000 years of hardcore slavery. All right. In 1,000 years, they're going to be building up our kingdom. All right. How we built up their kingdoms. All right. How we built up this kingdom. And all these nations profited from it. They're made the head and we're made the tail. All right. Well, guess what? This time we're going to be the head and they're going to be the tail. They're going to build up our kingdom, man. All right. And we're going to have rule over them forever. Okay. So that's why ultimately all these things are happening. All right. That's why it is a good thing. And we rejoice, when we see these things, man. All right. When we see these things, we don't, worry about this, man. These little 2/3, these bugged out 2/3 are going to worry about this. They're going to go crazy. All right. Eve is going to go crazy. These Jakes out here in the world, they're going to go crazy. But us in this knowledge, we're going to, Isaiah 33:6, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our time. And the fear of the Lord is going to be, what does it say? His treasure, man. Though when we're of that number, that's going to be our treasure. Okay, because we're going to have trust in him. And he's going to be delivering us. Though when we're of the elect and 1/3 remnant, he's going to be delivering us all the way through. All right, so with that, I'm going to say, call hello, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakha HaKodash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. Lord willing, it was edifying. It was kind of long, but hey, it's all through the spirit. All right, with that, I'm going to say shalom, on to the next.